From the heart of the land of the Guardians, where the Dawg Pound roars, the Cavs soar, and heartbreak is just part of the game, this is 3 and Out, Cleveland Sports Talk. With Jason, Drew, and Michael, 3 diehard fans breaking down the highs, the lows, and everything in between. No fluff, no filters, just Cleveland sports the way it's meant to be. Now let's get into it. Here's your hosts, Michael, Jason, and Drew.
Swung out and blasted deep to right. Goal! Getting chased. He got hit, knocked down. Cleveland, this is for you. Down goes Anderson.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We are 3 and Out. How's everybody doing out there? We're so excited for you to be here with us. Guess what, everybody? This last weekend was Mother's Day.
What?
Shout out to all the moms out there for doing great things and just being you. We appreciate all of you. We want to wish you all a happy Mother's Day from the 3 and Out cast and crew. Anybody do anything special or fun for their wives this weekend?
We hit the melting pot. That's
Nice.
always a fun time. Yeah, a little.
We bought a refrigerator,
Oh.
a stove, and a microwave.
Nice.
Dang.
My boys went out and dug flower beds and mulched and planted flowers, and I bought my wife a pedicure to go and just have a couple hours by herself to do all that fun jazz. But
Nice.
that's the fun of living with acts of service as love language, is that you don't get to get fun gifts to give them. You have to find ways to like work and stuff. Which,
They're welcome to come over and do mulch at my house.
are you acts of service too?
Sure.
I'll tell them.
I would be if they're going to
I
pull
am
weeds.
today. Yes.
So you enjoy when people do quality work, is what you're saying,
Right.
right? For what, like minimal effort to put quality work?
Minimal effort on my behalf.
There you
Minimal effort on your behalf. So basically, you would almost consider that to be like the Cavs then. Like,
go. Ooh.
No.
That was a
no,
great
I
segue.
said minimal effort, not
Yeah.
no effort.
okay, well, fair enough. We'll have somebody else do it for the Cavs too. Is basically how that amounts to.
At this
So,
point, they might need that.
Yeah.
golly, we put a little hype video. I did. I got so pumped after that the 2-0 loss, and I was like, you know what? We've been here before. We've done this before. We've been. Golden State might have been one of the best basketball teams in the history of basketball at one point. You know, in their own home, we're there, and it just felt like, oh, this is the. No, they screwed that up so
No.
bad. They won one game by a bunch, and then came out and looked like an absolute embarrassment of a team. Just weak, no chip. The whole recap back, we went back and talked about they're in Miami, and the Miami fans are rooting for them because they're just such a great team. They're such a good team, fun team to watch. Well, that doesn't win games against the Pacers. You
Right.
know, when you got the chippy attitudes and you got all of the, I don't know, just tenacity that they have about them. We don't have that. We don't possess that. We don't have an angry guy on our team. I mean, Hunter kind of showed it, and that was kind of embarrassing too, that little weak push that he gave. And it just, I don't know. It just hurt my feelings a little bit.
They hurt everybody's feelings except for the Pacers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Pacers were like loving every minute of the fact that our
I
feelings
actually,
were hurt.
I would imagine most of the Pacers bought them Mother's Day gifts.
Right.
There could have been
Say-
some
say thank
flowers.
you, guys.
Flowers and chocolates.
Welcome to the show, boys and girls.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that.
So I know you got some takes on this. I mean, I've got my opinions, but I'll fill the gaps where you lack.
Well, you want to go first, Jason?
Uh,
Because I don't know where mine's going to go. Just depends on
Yeah.
what I decide to talk about. Once I
Yeah,
start
just
talking.
I mean, a couple things that stood out. You know, the energy that Indiana had, that little point guard. I can't think. What's it? McConnell.
TJ.
Yeah.
Oh, JJ Redick.
Yeah.
JJ Redick.
I mean, he
1.0.
He reminds me like he's the deli
Right.
of their team. You know, that brings that.
Is he ham, salami?
Yeah. Della
Turkey?
Vedova. Come on
Oh,
now.
That deli.
Yeah, and
Getting
it
hungry.
brings that energy and that spark.
Which the Cavs weren't hungry either.
Right.
Yes, yeah, and I don't know. His penetration, kick out. They chewed the zone up. We were flat. We lost the shooting percentage by a large margin. The turnovers by a large margin.
What was the percentage at the free throw line?
We actually had more free throws, at least in the first
Did we
half.
hit more?
Yeah.
I
We
felt like
actually,
every time.
but that's where we got all our points.
I just felt like at a moment there, there's like
we hit 7 field goals in the first half.
Yeah, we were 35 for 40 from the free throw line.
7.
They were 16 to 20 from the free throw line.
That's crazy.
So,
Yeah, all our points came from the free throw line.
yeah, but we shot, our field goal percentage was 42. Theirs was 52.
Well, but that is skewed in and of itself because you're looking at the second half. The second half didn't matter.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking. Yeah,
You're counting a second half
yeah, I'm
where
counting the
our
second
bench
half.
players hit some shots and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah,
The first half was
worse. We were 37% or
Yeah.
something like that.
wasn't even close.
Yeah, it was bad. So, I'm still optimistic that we're going to be back in Cleveland for game
For
5.
game 5, we are.
And
I'm optimistic we'll be there too.
well,
there's a real high possibility that's
there's-
going to happen.
that's definitely going to happen, but I'm optimistic that we're going to show up this time and actually win the game, which would be, and put us down 3-2 and back, at least
Golden
within
State
reach.
Warriors all over again.
Yeah, we'd be within reach. It's happened before. We've been down 3-1, backs against the wall. This,
Is this team better than that Golden State Warriors team?
What, Indiana?
Yeah.
Not even close.
no.
I mean, is the Cavs better than?
I think
I think they're a more
yes.
complete team. We're minus LeBron
No,
James.
No.
I
No.
think we're a
the
more
block.
complete team.
No.
100%.
Kyrie.
The 3 best players
Mm.
on that team, excluding Donovan Mitchell, are probably better than anybody else on our team.
Give me the 3. LeBron,
LeBron, Kyrie, and
Kevin Love.
Kevin Love. Yeah,
Because even though Kevin was relegated to a role,
he would hit shots.
he knew what his role was, but he could do more if the team needed a different role out of him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a guy that averaged 25 and 12 the year he came to us.
Mhm.
He was the focal point of an offense, and so he was playing like it. When he came to Cleveland, he was relegated to
third
more of a
option, yeah.
stretch 4.
I mean, I think
But-
there's an argument to be made, though, that this is a more complete team.
No.
Maybe those 3 are better.
No,
I disagree.
I'm on a very much no train today. So
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you're going to get no support out of me because that game,
That game. That game.
if-
But remember,
if-
the team that had LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love was also down 3-1 in a series. So,
but
and
they had LeBron.
we have Donovan Spider Mitchell.
I love Donovan.
I love him too.
He is not LeBron.
No, he's
I
Donovan.
will agree.
He's not going to average 45, 14, and 10 over
And
these
not to
last
mention
3
LeBron's
games.
just physical physique.
Yeah, he can't do it. LeBron
that's
can control
game-
the game on both ends of the floor back in his prime.
Like that's what I was watching.
Donovan
with-
can't do that. I
Well,
love Donovan.
I was watching that with Donovan because it's scary to me because he's gonna get hurt like bad one of these games. I mean,
he
the way
did
that he
in
plays.
warm-ups at halftime.
Well, that's because of all of the other stuff he's had to do to get us to this point. But I was watching, I'm like, that's the difference. LeBron James can go full court, dunk from the foul line, and what are you gonna do? With Donovan, they just put a bunch of bodies on him and put him on the ground.
Well, figure out where I start, and you guys just interject because I don't know when I'll stop. Because first and foremost, you're a team that has championship aspirations.
Mm-hmm.
You played all season. You were the number 2 rated offense in the history of the NBA. Your offense was predicated on ball movement, on penetration, on rotations around the perimeter, guys stepping up and knocking down shots. Your defense was predicated on funneling guards to your bigs and recovering out to shooters. You gave up more points because you were playing a faster brand of basketball. But your defensive efficiency was still top 10 in the NBA. You come out last night. You've got a chance to tie the series after you already pooped away game 2. I mean, you could have been in that game up 2-1.
Right.
Should have been. So when you go into a game, okay, football has scripted 15 or whatever.
Right.
Basketball, you generally draw up the first play of the game. It's a play generally you've run a bunch of times. When I was coaching at Walsh, we had a season where we had really good point guard play and we had a 7-foot Brazilian. We ran the same play every single game to start. In 90% of the games, we got a lob dunk.
Nice.
Because we just ran the play perfectly. You open up the game with a scripted play, something that you know, something that you're looking for, something specific, something that, you may not hit the shot because shots don't always go in, but you're going to get a shot. You're going to get something quality because it's the play. And then you play off of that. Cavs turned it over.
Yeah.
It was just a sign of things to come. There was no emotion. I was telling Jason on the way over, and again, I'm just trying to say enough without saying too much because I could go on for a half hour, and I won't. But when you look at the play with DeAndre Hunter, I loved it. First of all, it's the first person other than Donovan and Max Strus who have shown any type of willingness to fight back. Now, I wish he would have done it with a basketball in his hand and a guy underneath him and him hanging on the rim.
And walking over him as he lands, yes.
Right.
I agree.
But I'm okay with what he did, even if he would have got kicked out. But if you watch, there's a clip of it from the baseline floating around social media. If you watch Jarrett Allen, and again, I love Jarrett Allen. This whole thing transpires. Players run over. I honestly don't know that Jarrett Allen moved an inch. I told him it looked like he was on something and just like spacey. There was plays with Miles Turner when Miles Turner was going through that flurry where he was hitting threes and doing all kinds of stuff. Jarrett Allen couldn't move. There were passes to him that went right through his hands.
Maybe he had a gummy before the game.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to think, but he played 20 minutes and had 2 rebounds and 1 shot in 20 minutes. Now, that's all in the first half because second half was whatever.
Yeah, he was just uninvolved entirely.
You've got – let me go to coaching. I'm going to flip to coaching because I think Kenny Atkinson has done a really good job all year of making adjustments, of staying consistent to his rotation, of riding the hot hand, right? But who's the hot hand? You don't have one.
Right.
Tell me one bench guy. One.
No, you can't.
One role player this entire series that has played even to their level.
You can't.
Sam Merrill, largely garbage. Ty Jerome,
but he's played better defense than
Sam Merrill's defense has been fantastic. Right. I love his on-ball defense. I didn't know he had it in him, so that I will commend him for. But he's out there for one reason: that's to hit shots.
Right.
Okoro's been terrible.
Okoro's been awful. Dean Wade has been.
He came in the last.
He got a shot blocked.
What was it? What game was that? 4.
Yeah, he got a shot blocked.
In game 4, he came in and one of his first or second shots, he went up to just do a layup.
Yeah, got it toasted.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, just terrible.
It was right after he came in.
Yeah.
But he's
after not
awful.
playing at all.
Yeah. DeAndre Hunter, other than the push, has been awful.
Right.
I mean, what? 5 points last night? I mean, just
nothing. By and large, Evan Mobley has been bad.
Right.
Darius had a good first half when he came back, but the last 3 halves, he
Yeah.
And again, I get. So you guys have all played sports. Is there a difference between being hurt and being injured?
Oh, yeah.
Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter are not injured.
No.
They're hurt. This is the conference semifinals of the playoffs for a team with championship aspirations. Suck it up.
Byron Leftwich.
I don't care that you're hurt.
Do you remember Byron Leftwich?
Yeah.
I mean, having guys literally on either side of him, dragging him down the field. That was to win a championship.
Suck it up.
Yep.
Your toe's going to hurt.
I
deal with it.
Not
your finger's going to hurt.
Yep.
Deal with
that
it.
actually hurt a little bit to say.
Your thumb. See, here's the other thing. Yeah, your thumb makes it harder to grip the ball.
Right.
I get it. Right? You have big hands. DeAndre Hunter's got big hands. So it does make it harder to squeeze.
Right.
I'll give him that. But it shouldn't affect as a shooting hole much because you're not using your shooting hand thumb to shoot the ball. You're using your 4 fingers.
Right.
So get your thumb out of the way. It's supposed to be out of the way anyway. And Evan Mobley doesn't look like, you were talking before, he doesn't even look like he's been hurt.
Right.
He's moving.
He came in, looked like he had just played.
So
like
take
it was
over.
awful.
Take over.
The only thing that happened
Go
with
through
him is
some-
he hurt his ankle and
Told you I'm
lost his
gonna get worked
hands.
up. Yeah, you say it again. Sorry.
I said he hurt his foot or whatever
Yeah,
and
it affected
lost his hands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing I saw with him that was like
he sprained his
freaking kidding
ankle
me?
and now he can't catch a ball.
Right. Terrible.
Right.
But
And
like,
once again, go back to the big hands. He's 7 foot.
Yeah,
Like
he's got big hands.
those are some mitts.
Yeah,
It's like a
take
softball.
2 fingers and
Right.
swallow the ball.
It's like catching a softball.
So there was a play. This was actually in Game 3, and I remember watching it. I'm like, I would love to see a Cavalier do this. It was Neesmith or Nemhard. Who's the one with the braids? That's Nemhard.
Yes.
So he took the ball
Because
baseline.
them are hard, them braids.
Yeah, Nem are hard. You're right. Well played. See, this is where you need your buzzer.
Right.
Yeah.
But he took it baseline against DeAndre Hunter. And he literally lowered his shoulder, went right through Hunter's chest, knocked him on his butt, shot the layup. No
Right.
foul, nothing.
Right.
Name one player outside of Donovan who's just gone right at a pacer to the basket. They won Game 3, but if you go back and watch, did they win because they played well, or did they win because Indiana missed like 17 shots in a row?
Yeah, that was exactly what it was.
Like, is that why you won?
Mhm.
Because when Indiana's hitting any shots, we have no prayer. So I'm glad they won a game, but they pooped away a game, and then this one they just didn't even show up.
Yeah.
Like
I
it was.
will say-
I texted Tate real quick, and if I can say this, because I don't even know if it's a word, but it was the best description I could come up with. I texted him. I said, "This is basketball bastardization."
Yeah.
It's what it was.
That's not a word.
I don't think it is either, but it sounded good.
It,
Yeah.
it
And it had-
makes sense though with what
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you're
Right.
saying.
It was an abomination. It was putrid.
This is a fatherless
Well,
Father's Day
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
We played in Game 2. We played 46 minutes of probably the most heart, the best quality basketball as a team. Missing 3 key players, 2 starters, and the 6th man that's supposed to be all that and a bag of chips. 46 minutes we played phenomenal basketball and gave it away in the last 2 minutes.
I
I'd
don't
say
know,
47 minutes and 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't know.
58
I don't
seconds
know. The league
sub
gave it
second.
away. I think
So-
the refs kind of gave that one away too. But
So-
whatever.
No.
But
All you gotta do is get the ball inbounds and hold it.
yeah, so
Just call
that
it foul.
that I'll say was, that gave me confidence going into Game 3. Game 3, I thought we played well. We shot the ball well. They shot poor. Everybody was back. I really thought, maybe it was a combination of them shooting poorly and us actually knocking down some shots. But it seemed like our zone, the zone that we were,
The zone bothered them.
it really bothered them in Game
But that's
3.
in the NBA. That's what zones are for. Short spurts to disrupt a rhythm.
Yeah,
You don't run a zone in the NBA for any stretch because those players are too good.
yeah.
And we saw that in Game 4.
They
Well, that's what,
adjusted.
I was just gonna say. That's what I noticed as not by far not the basketball expert, but they really put the work in on our zone. It seemed like the ball movement was there. They were finding open man, and the movement, our guys' movement in the zone was sluggish and late. We weren't getting there to make to
No,
contest the
no.
shots or
There was a play in the first half because I refused to watch the second half. But there was a play in the first half where McConnell got it on the left wing, and I believe it was Mobley or Allen guarding him. Again, disadvantage. You're running a 3-2, and basically 3 up top, guarding the perimeter, 2 on the backside. And McConnell got by, split the help defender, got to the rim, and the backside help was, I believe it was Hunter and Darius, I want to say. I believe. I could be wrong. I can't remember who was up top. Never even got a foot in the paint.
yeah.
The rule in the 3-2 is when you're on the backside, you got to have at least a foot in the paint.
Yeah.
He got all the way to the basket, and neither one of them got
It's
a
just
foot
like
in the
an
paint.
easy layup.
It was literally like nobody within 10 feet of him layup.
Yeah.
Not just an easy layup. You
Yeah.
don't get those. To get that layup in a half court in the NBA
Right.
means you're playing against a team who doesn't care,
Yeah.
who has no interest in playing that day. And that's what the Cavs did. They I don't remember if I was texting you guys or texting Tate. I said you could see it in their eyes with about 6 minutes to go in the second quarter that they were defeated.
Yeah.
They were done.
They had defeat in their
I think
eyes.
I remember you saying that.
They were done. And barring a miracle, when you get that look, you don't come back from it.
Right.
You don't come back from it. You can't. You're already
And
defeated.
like we said, there's nobody on that team that can reinsert that energy back into him right now. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell can go down and hit a three. He can hit, a cool dunk, but you're just missing that aggressive body that can just come in and set the tone physically and
Well, in part of the
skill-wise.
problem, and this is even with my son's soccer team, I know I'm digressing, but you play with a team full of nice guys,
Mhm.
right? What you get is a team full of nice guys.
right.
And you don't get somebody that is willing to get after players. Now, I think Donovan's a great leader.
Mhm.
What Donovan isn't, though, I won't say isn't because I don't know him. What he doesn't necessarily appear to be is a guy that holds his teammates accountable.
Mhm.
When they're not playing, he says, fine, I'll just do it myself.
Right.
Give me the ball and get out of my way. If you're not going to do it.
Which isn't terrible either.
No, I don't mind it. But at some point, somebody's got to get into some of those
Right.
guys that have a little bit softer personalities.
I thought that would be
get
Jared
after
Allen,
him.
to be honest with you, but it has
Well,
I
it'd
didn't
be-
realize he was as nice as he is though either.
No, yeah, he's a great guy. Like he's everything about him screams, I'd want to hang out with him.
Right. Right.
But right now, I'd want to hang out with him and wring his neck.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the tone and temperament is tomorrow, for game 5
Right.
in Cleveland, backs against the wall, elimination game. Is somebody going to step up and be that forceful leader?
Yeah.
Listen, we still have the more talented team. We still have a better
But do
bench
we?
when they're I mean,
After
Miles Turner's a problem,
Listen,
man. I mean that
I've always loved his game.
I've never seen anything quite like him. I mean they
they
Jaren
were knocking
Jackson.
down freaking shots, man. He was 4 for 4 from 3.
That's a younger version.
right.
Yeah, he was. And to your point too, we were in that zone. It seemed like for I don't know.
Well, we
long
were in
stretches.
it, and it was
Long-
getting destroyed. He went away from it. Then he made adjustment by taking Evan Mobley off the top, and then they destroyed it again. Like you can't. It's a gimmick defense at the NBA level. All you're using it. There's a few possessions here, a few possessions there. They got away with it longer in game 2 because they weren't ready. But Rick Carlisle is an absolute monster of a coach.
Yeah,
He's going to find the weakness in that, and he did.
yeah.
And the other thing, and then going into coaching, and that's where I was going when I was talking about Kenny Atkinson and the role players. You can't tell me one role player right now who's playing above their expected value to the team.
Right.
No, I agree. With
Why on earth do we keep dipping in to the same well?
Right.
What's the definition of insanity?
you.
Doing the same thing over expecting different results.
Expecting different results. So why on earth do you keep, after 3 years?
Wait a minute, were you impressed that I knew that?
I was actually.
I saw
I
his
figured
eyes.
it was from Jason.
I mean, I was
Well done.
I was giving Michael an opportunity there. He rose to the occasion.
He did.
I can tell
He
you what
did.
insanity is.
That was a better play than any Cavalier in the first half yesterday.
Consistency.
Yes.
Right.
Consistency.
So
I
key
played
of golf.
above. I played above my
you did.
level just
You
now.
played above your level. See, that's all we're asking. You're a great postseason contributor.
So what you're suggesting is, why are Porter and Green and some of those guys not getting burned?
when you
when
got
you know
Dean
it's
Wade
not. Or
with
like you
3
said-
years of playoff failure, Isaac Okoro 3 years of playoff failure, Sam Merrill can't hit the side of the bar, Ty Jerome disappeared. Why on earth are we not at least giving Craig Porter Jr.
Or
which
putting
again,
Tristan Thompson in a uniform right now.
well, he can't score either.
I don't
but
need him to score. I need him to knock somebody on their
What
butt
I
right
need to
now.
do is get up about 10 and then throw them out
Right.
and knock people around. But we got to get the lead first.
I
because
might
we're
even
gonna struggle.
start. I might even start the game with him as the
Not a
power
bad idea.
forward and just say,
go knock somebody out.
"Go make Miles Turner afraid to look up.
Yeah. No, I
Don't
mean,
hurt him."
Like Craig Porter Jr., and I know he doesn't get a lot of run, but when you watch him play,
Mhm.
you want to talk about a bulldog?
Oh my gosh, heart!
The kid is a bulldog.
And he's got so
he
much heart.
he is Nemhard and he is Neesmith.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That is how he plays. Why is he not getting an opportunity
Over
to do
Okoro.
something over Okoro?
Yeah.
Javonte Green,
A dog.
okay, he is like a Coro,
Mhm.
except more of a dog.
Mhm.
When he gets out there, I don't know if you remember Miami. He got the ball in Miami game, and this was game 4. Game was over, but their starters were still in.
Mhm.
He got the ball on the baseline, did a little jab step to the baseline, drove middle, and I swear his head was at the rim. Just yammed it on anyone in the vicinity.
Mm.
Like, he just has a mentality of, I'm coming at you, and I'm going to keep coming at you.
Yeah.
And when he got in the other day at the end of the game when it was decided, first things he's doing is going after offensive rebounds and trying to tip it out to people.
Right.
Okay. Why is Jalen Tyson, your first-round rookie, your last first-round guaranteed decent first-round pick
Right.
for the next 5 years? Because 3 of them go to Utah, and then Utah gets the better of the 2 for the other 2 years.
Right.
Why are you not giving him an opportunity? Because even though I think he's got holes in his game, the kid plays with no fear.
Mm-hmm.
Right now,
And they're all looking to
Okoro,
prove something
Wade,
right now.
all those guys are playing with eyes full of fear.
Mhm.
Give those guys a chance to do something.
Right.
Because right now what you're doing isn't working. I mean, right now you're subscribing to
define
the
not
theory of
working.
insanity. Huh?
Define not working.
Down
Down
3-1.
50?
Down 41 at half.
Yeah.
That's not working.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were.
So do you honestly think if they made some of these changes with the rotations, that it would either inspire our team or throw Indiana into a little bit of a state of confusion and maybe give us a little bit of an edge in a game 5?
Do I think in order to have any type of chance of winning 3 in a row? Yes. I think if you throw the same rotation out there, the same
Just
concepts,
expect to win.
and expect at peak guys to just start hitting shots, it's not going to happen.
Right.
A Tiger doesn't change its stripes, and a Coro and Wade. And again, I don't dislike the guys.
Right.
I think they're decent players and they have a role, but they've shown for 3 years. Okay, we were talking about Shepard for Indiana.
Mhm.
How many shots did he hit last night? 5? Was he 5 for something?
He was 5 for 10.
Yeah, 5 for 10. He hit more field goals in that game. A guy who never plays, but because of the
Right.
ejection had to get minutes.
Right.
More field goals in that game. Did Dean Wade hit it in the second half?
He kind of looked like Sid from
Dean,
Ice Age too, by the way.
Dean Wade had 3 points. So
Yeah, Dean Wade hit 1 field goal, which I believe, I'd have to go back and check. I think that gives him 4. No, it actually might be 7. Because he either had 3 or 6 going into that game. But
Okay.
regardless, he's somewhere from 4 to 7 field goals in his entire career in the playoffs.
And he hit 5.
And Shepard, a nobody, sorry, Shepard, comes off the bench and hits 5 in
No,
one game.
that's Sid from Ice Age.
Yeah. But that's where, I don't know why you keep going back to that well
Right.
when you know it's dry. It's been dry for 3 years.
So back in
I mean, sorry, Michael,
You're
but
good.
is the well that got us 64 wins in the regular season?
Here's the difference.
those guys
And
did play though.
There is a reason, and I'm going to explain it in a little bit. So when I was coaching, we had a player. I'm not going to name his name because if he ever watches this, that
Oh,
he-
live a little.
because I do know there's one person who watches who's also connected to him, so I don't want to use a name. But he was a fantastic.
Check the comments.
Yeah, he. If you know, don't say anything.
If you know, you know.
But in practice, he would dominate. Like, he would go against our starting player and he would dominate him. He could run the backup team, just efficiently. He was physical. He was tough, good defense, would knock down shots. But you put him in a game and he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. There's performance anxiety that came with that we could never figure out how to break through until he got to a point where our starting guard got injured and he had to start. And then he actually became a good player. But I think that's what Dean Wade and Isaac Okoro, I think they have playoff performance anxiety. I think during the regular season, the pressure's not on.
Right.
So they're coming in, they're carefree. The defenses aren't up in you all game. So you can flow a little freer. Your shots are a little more comfortable. But you're in the playoffs, everything's tighter. The defensive tighter, the pressure's tighter. Your minutes are tighter. And so you get that performance anxiety, and every mistake you made, it snowballs into worse and worse and worse. And now you've got 3 years of proof They're showing these guys can't perform in the
Right.
playoffs.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other night I would almost rather have Tristan taking Dean Wade's minutes right now, like
100%.
just to have some type of.
100%.
I feel like
Now he
he's-
can't. The only
he's-
thing Dean does provide good perimeter defense, but that put Javonte Green in. Yeah, he's only 6'5", but he's extremely athletic.
Tristan
He'll
will get
still
under the
guard.
basket though, and he's going to be this guy in
Yeah.
your ear, and I
True.
like that. You know,
And Jalen
he's-
Tyson's 6'6",
and he's
6'7".
going to take a shot like a dunk or something that he has no business taking,
Mm-hmm.
but he's going to take it because he's going to try and set the tone. You know,
Yeah.
if it does go down, it does.
Hey, at this point, throw Imani Bates out there
I was
because
thinking
he's
the same
going to
thing.
let it fly
Right,
and he's going to hit some.
right.
He may not guard a soul, but he's going to get some shots up and he's going to knock some down. Like, I don't understand why you keep going to these guys who just give you absolutely nothing.
Right.
Nothing. And they
I
gave
mean,
you nothing
did
in
pretty
Miami.
Good, though. I mean, Okoro didn't play for like the first 3 quarters, so I did see a little bit of
Well, yeah,
change
he's
there.
been since Darius came back. He was the odd man out. Remember,
Right.
we've talked about how
Right.
your playoff rotations shrink. There was going to be somebody who was
Right.
an odd man out. The problem with Dean Wade is he's your backup big,
right.
so there's minutes there. But again, I think you can sub in
And Evan Mobley's
Tristan,
big toe
Jalen
hurts, and so his
Tyson.
hands don't work, so
Yeah.
you have a big
Yeah.
to back him up.
So I just think you've got to try something new.
Right.
You know,
But,
like the first
What's
couple
it going
games,
to hurt? I mean,
Thomas
you're
Bryant.
you're the game away from elimination right now.
Right.
What would it hurt?
hopefully guys prides and maybe
Right.
they'll go into the offseason and work hard.
Right.
So
You know,
we're
like-
learning about performance anxiety. I mean, is this where we get a Blue Chew
I was
sponsorship?
just going to say Blue Chew.
Dang.
It's awesome. Wah, 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 wah.
It took me a second.
Well, maybe you need a Blue Chew.
I mean, I don't know anything about any of that, but I hear it.
I'm young at heart.
Yeah, jeez.
Now I got tea up my nose.
Better than Blue Chew. Bigger.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was watching the other night, and this is what's frustrating to me about this particular team. Is Dean Wade? Who cares about him? Is Darius Garland good? Yes. Is Donovan Mitchell good? Yes. Is Hunter good? Yes. Is Mobley and Allen all good? Yes. All of them are great players. Why is it that when one is off, all of them are off?
Yeah.
Right now. Like, that's so frustrating. Like, usually it's like, okay, so Mitchell doesn't have it tonight. Garland, you pick up the slack and you run with it. Okay.
They're all flat.
Even if
Which
that's
is
the
what it
case right
was
now,
during the
and you
regular
got- and you
season.
got those two guys right now. Like, if Mitchell's not on and Garland is on, that's still only one. The rest of the 9, 10, 11 players in the rotation are off as well. Like, it's so frustrating. Like,
The
like
whole
you said,
group.
tightrope.
Yeah.
No,
Well, that's
like,
He's been
I think
awful.
that's
awful.
the point. The bench, the margin for error with this team shooting the way they are, playing the way they are.
well, I'm even
they're-
referring to like Mobley though.
Yeah.
You know, not even just the bench. Like, where's his shot at? You know, like Strus has been
Everything he
spotty.
took yesterday was like in the first half was like settling for jumpers while he was leaning backwards. There
Right.
was no attack. Everything was retreat.
Yeah.
And even and Max Strus has been phenomenal.
Mm.
But was it you I was telling? No, I think it was talking to my wife when we were watching a game.
There's a
Like
big
him
difference there, by
as
the
a
way.
there's a
Big,
what?
big difference between the two there. So
Yeah, I know. But I was talking to somebody. Most of the
it's
time
the
I just
hair.
talk
The
and
hair's
nobody
the same.
listens, so it doesn't matter who's there anyway. But you can tell. I can tell when Max
'Cause he's
Strus is
taller
going to
than
make
us.
shots and when he's not,
Yeah.
because his legs are completely different.
Right.
And yesterday, and again, he's been phenomenal. Every shot was on his heels, and he got no lift, and it was leaning backwards, and you know everything about. Again, even their shooting was a retreat.
right.
Like there was nothing aggressive, nothing
Just throwing
attacking.
it up there, just going through the
You
motions,
know,
get through
but
this
but
game.
even I'm shooting away from the defense. I'm not even trying to go up over the defense.
Right.
I'm trying to jump away from it. It was just the most bizarre, sad excuse for a basketball game that I've watched by a Cleveland Cavaliers team. I text you guys. That first half was worse than anything we had to endure during 1 and 31.
Right.
Here's another thing too that I've noticed. So coming into this game, wasn't Halliburton the guy we had to stop? I mean, he's.
Well, we've done
I
good
was
against
going
them.
to say
And other guys are picking up the slack.
We've really shut him
What a-
down.
What a novel idea.
Well, I guess you're right. That's what we're missing is anybody else.
Yeah.
Anybody else? other
Nobody's
than-
stepping up.
I think
Yeah.
So go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I think part of my frustration too right now is like we talked about when Kevin Love was a part of this team. Kevin Love had a role on this team. The roles on this team don't seem to have identifications to them.
Yeah.
Max Strus, you've been talking about how great he's playing. This dude's out there right now acting like he is like Kyrie as far as a point guard. And the passes that he's making and going for right now don't make any sense at all. Like they even said the other night that they had a ball where he did this like crazy pass to Jared Allen. They're like, even if
But
that
Jared
pass
Allen,
gets,
it went right through his hand. I
but
know
if it-
exactly what pass you're
but
talking
they're
about.
talking about it right there.
He
Even
drove
if-
middle and he spun back towards the baseline.
But that was my point,
Yeah.
though. Even if he catches the ball, he's got a guy here. and
no,
a guy
I'm
here,
not saying it
and
was
now he's in a bad
pass.
spot.
But
So there's like,
here's why. You're not wrong.
it just
But
doesn't make
here's
any
why.
sense. Why he's
Because
doing it.
Max Strus has been to the finals and knows what it takes. And he's watching Ty Jerome and Darius Garland do squat. And Donovan limping on a hurt calf, now potentially hurt ankle. Hey,
And
you
Hart.
put those two together, what's between them, Mike?
Heart,
No, what's between your calf and your ankle?
Achilles.
Correct.
I got two bionic ones.
Yeah. So if your calf is
Extra
hurting
strong ones.
and your ankle's hurting, right? So you got Max Strus trying to do things that aren't necessarily in his strength,
Right.
because he's trying to make something happen.
It's
Because
it's
nobody
just
else
frustrating when
is.
you're losing like that to see a guy and you're just like, what are we doing here? Like, why is
I'm not mad at him at all for
I get
that.
it. I get that. I didn't look at it from that perspective of just trying to make something happen at this point, but I'm looking at it from all the other mistakes that people are making right now, that it's like nobody's playing the role that they're supposed to play. Jared Allen, dude,
Yeah, but
I could
if
put a
Mimi,
parlay
if
together.
Mimi wasn't making cookies,
Right.
and you really, really got hungry for cookies, and she said, "No, I'm not making cookies."
I'm going to go make some cookies.
You're gonna go bake some cookies. They
Actually,
might not be as good, but you want some cookies.
Probably going to go buy some.
But still, you're going to be
You're
the
gonna
one
go
getting
get
the cookies.
Yeah.
Max
But-
was just trying to find some cookies.
like for example, the role play. All season long, I could put a parlay together on FanDuel. If you're out there listening and you want to sponsor us too, I could put 5 blocks like on any given night on a parlay with Jared Allen.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's nowhere to be found. Like that's your
20 minutes,
your thing.
2 rebounds, 1 shot.
That's your thing. And Miles Turner, just get in his face, foul him a few
And
times.
again, here's my problem with Jarrett. And again, I love the guy, and I want to qualify it with that because this is a short-term assessment. Although this comment's going to be a little more long-term. He was the one that said 2 years ago in Madison Square Garden that the lights were too bright.
Right.
Is that what happened yesterday?
I think
Did he get blinded by the light, and that's
think
why he
Miles
stood
Turner's
looking
too
like
tall.
a deer in headlights? He's not.
Oh.
You know, but it's just a.
he's trouble, man. I'm
know,
sorry. He's
so-
so good.
I know. I've always loved him, and that's why I did not want to play Indiana.
Big
Because
body,
he's a
shooting
problem,
threes, dunking
and
the
they're a
ball.
physical team.
He gets the offensive
So-
rebounds, puts them right back.
Yeah.
I mean, just no
He's a
answer
big,
for
wide
him
body.
whatsoever.
No.
Well, even if we take Game 5, we find the spark. They need to have enough juice. This team needs to have enough juice to win 3 in a row.
Right.
You know,
Momentum, all of the above.
Now,
And-
the only good news is if we can get the one in Indiana, I think it would be really hard for them to come into a Game 7 atmosphere
I
in Cleveland
agree.
to win. That's the only silver lining. But how do we get there?
It's just a matter
So
of what do you inject
you've
into
got
that
you've
Cavs
got to
team.
show up, and you've got these guys. I'm looking at like what 10 guys on the bottom of on the bench that have largely been absent. You know, somebody needs to step up. And I don't know
Well,
if Coach is
some have
gonna
been
put
largely
something-
absent because they haven't been given opportunity, and that's on Kenny. You got to know your players,
Just
and
take
when
it
you're
easy on Kenny, though.
no,
This is his first time with us.
no. Kenny doesn't get a pass. Kenny has to take responsibility for letting his team show up yesterday and throw an absolute egg against the wall.
Well, I remember
But-
one of Drew's keys was who's going to win the coaching.
Yeah, and he's been out coached
Yeah, I agree with that.
hugely in this series.
Yeah.
Now, that's not a diminishment on Kenny because
No,
Rick
that's
Carlisle is
experience.
probably one of the top 2 or 3 coaches in the whole league.
Right, I agree.
So he's a mastermind when it comes to basketball. So that's kudos to him. But Kenny's got to do something different.
Right.
Well, just pause for 1 second on that
No.
because
Okay.
we're 4 games in, and I don't believe he got out coached in game 2.
We're 8 games in.
We're 4 games into this
Oh,
series.
okay, sorry.
162
And,
left.
and
in
I
the
don't think he got out coached in game 2. And I
the
don't
last
think he
58
got.
seconds when it counts.
He didn't throw the bad inbound pass.
No. But he is the one who is calling those plays. I'm sorry. Go back and watch. You do not start a press breaker with your guards in the corner.
Mhm.
You do not start a press break with your. That is like rule number 1 as a player and as a coach. And the guards sat in the corners trying to call for the ball. Then you go to the side out of bounds, and you're running a play you run earlier in the year. They ran it for George Niang, who's 6'9".
Right.
They tried to run it for Ty Jerome, who's not a post guy, playing in the post. No, that's on Kenny. That's 100% on Kenny. So, yes, he is absolutely responsible.
Yeah.
He's also the one that has the teams line up for free throws and get them ready for shots.
Right.
We gave up 2 offensive rebounds in the last 58 seconds. Yeah, the players have to execute, but it's up to the coach to tell, especially after the first one.
Right, but
Hey,
the coach missing 2 starters and the 6th man, got the team, limped them all the way to the finish line, and the talent, in my opinion, didn't.
Donovan did. Donovan was a one-man show. There was
Yeah.
no offense. There was no movement. There was no. That was all Donovan.
Okay, all right. I disagree, but
You're allowed to.
you can't tell me that the coach didn't have something to do with any of that, except when Mitchell screws up at the end with the offensive foul, you're going to blame Kenny.
But again,
You can't
But my whole point in that part, yeah, the offensive foul is on Donovan. But what you're running to put Donovan in that position, that's on Kenny.
No.
Okay, when you're trying to break a press break, they're pressing. You want the ball in the middle of the floor. The last place you want it is on the sideline.
Right.
So why are you running everything in the corners and everything on the sidelines? That's on Kenny.
Right.
Are the players also at fault for that last 58 seconds? 100%.
Yeah.
Right.
But Kenny's not absolved because of what happened on the court. He's also responsible for what happened.
Right.
He's just as now. Can you say that there were things maybe he did during the game to get them motivated, to get them focused, to get them ready for the first 47 minutes? 100%.
Yeah.
But it's the last minute that cost him the game, and there was at least 3 coaching mistakes in the last minute.
Yeah.
So there were probably more player mistakes, but there was at least 3 coaching mistakes. They had to use a timeout because Donovan's in one corner and Ty Jerome's in, I think it was Ty Jerome. Somebody's in the other corner.
Yeah.
Then they got the charge with Donovan, and then that side out of bounds was a bunch of crap.
Right.
If you're going to do that, put Jared Allen there and just hope he hits 1 free throw.
Right.
Throw it up to Jared Allen.
Yeah.
Or Dean Wade. He's not a bad free throw shooter, but you're throwing it to Ty Jerome.
Right.
He's not a post guy.
Right.
He doesn't know how to seal a guy in the
You
post.
don't really have a shot of that shot going in at that point.
So it's just, were there things he did in that game? Was the zone in game 3 really good? 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's done a terrible job, but I'm saying over the course of the 4 games, he's been outcoached quite a bit.
Well, so I'm looking at it obviously with a different set of eyes, and I'm seeing that, yes, we're down 3-1, but
You're an optimist.
we blew them out in
We
game
need that.
3 by 22 points. We pulled starters in the second half of that game, just like they pulled starters in the second half of this game.
Well, that was with 2 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go.
I mean,
Because it was a close game up until about midway through the 4th when they missed like 14 or 17 shots in a row.
yeah,
That's when we pulled away.
but the game 2 again is the toss-up game.
Yeah.
That should have went our way.
Should have
So
went our way.
that's why I'm not completely destitute right now. I'm optimistic because I feel like we should have won game 2. We should be sitting here 2-2, and there's still hope. I believe this is a more talented team. So I'm
It
hoping
has to
we're gonna
go like you said. If we get this game at home, we go into Indiana. That's to me that's the one. If you can win the one in Indiana,
Right.
I will feel way better about our
don't-
game 7. But sheesh,
I mean, they're coming.
Is
into
there a way
Cleveland
to
one-
win it? Yes. The problem is the way we've been kept ourselves into the game at this point is Donovan scoring 40 plus.
right?
If he's not scoring
He's
40 plus,
tired.
we're getting blown out.
He's tired.
And now he's hurt more.
Yeah.
So you've got to have other guys step up. Who are those guys that are going to step up? If Donovan
Tristan
has
Thompson.
a subpar game, who do you trust right now to get us to a game 7?
Well, you would have to think Hunter would have to step up
No, I'm
at
saying
some
who do you
point.
trust?
That's what I'm saying. I trust Hunter.
I know who we need to step up. I'm saying who do you trust?
I trust Hunter
Okay,
to do
okay.
it if he'll do it. Like if he can come through and do it. But I just haven't seen it yet.
That's the
But
problem.
That would be the
Nobody
guy,
else
though.
has done it yet.
Or even Ty Jerome. You know,
8
like
games in the playoffs, and Hunter
that's what I'm
hasn't.
saying. He's been terrible.
Yeah.
But that would be the guy. That's why you traded for him. Was for this particular
I agree.
specific.
What about
situation.
Mobley? You know,
I mean,
we
that's-
we
that's
talked
why-
about we
that's why I
talked about it
think
against
Mobley or-
Miami, how he was going at. Now he's going against. Oh my gosh, my brain fart. Who's the? Oh my gosh,
Kevin Love?
no, Miami's. I love the way he plays. Their point forward. What is his name? I keep saying an OG Anunoby, but that's with the Knicks.
No, it starts with an A, right?
Yes, him.
Yes.
What is it, Jay? Help my
Obi-
brain. Yeah, Adebayo.
Adebayo.
Bam Adebayo.
Bam, yeah.
So he was going right at him. And he's a guy who's a defensive player of the year caliber type defender. He has not done that once in this series.
Yeah.
Now, can you blame it on his ankle? No.
No, it's his.
Because he's been moving
It's
fine.
his pencil
So
structure going against Miles Turner.
but he's not he's going against Pascal Siakam
Do you
mostly.
think if a guy like him ate a blue chew, that it would actually make his whole body bulk up, or would it just
It increases blood flow.
Oh man.
all of a sudden, like Popeye, just give him some spinach right for here's a blue chew. Whoosha, Evan Mobley.
So that's where for me,
I don't think that's how it works. I mean, I don't know how it works, but I'm pretty sure that's not how it works.
I would have no way of even testing. I'm already blue chewed. Look at
God. This is devolved.
yeah, where were we? So to come back in the series, I'm just trying to figure out who we would trust to be able to carry some of the load if Donovan is not 100%.
If Ty Jerome hits like he hit in the regular season, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's a lot of ifs.
Yeah.
But right now, we haven't seen anybody outside of Max Strus that you would trust. And he's not a guy that can control the flow of the game.
Right.
No.
And that's what I'm worried about. But
I
that's
mean,
where, for me,
Garland or
you've got to
Mobley,
find...
it's got to be.
Yeah. And
I
we've
don't
seen
trust
it just
Mobley
not in
'cause
the
I
series.
think if Mobley's going to be the number one in our options of things, he's going to be hurt. I mean, I'm just falling less and less in love with Mobley, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm the
wanna-
opposite because if you remember last offseason, I
Right.
was ready to move on from him. So I'm the other way. But I don't like what I've seen in the series.
Well,
Now,
that's what it
obviously
all
they've
matters.
missed.
You know, yes, he's done some great things in the regular season, but when it comes down to it, when somebody pushes, he does not push back, and it's not a characteristic you want in your 7-footer.
So, and that's where I think we've got to go to some of those guys on the bench
Mhm.
and see if somebody. Now, this is for probably a later episode, but we don't pull out this series. There's some very difficult questions to be answered with regards
contracts.
to this roster because we'll be a separate second apron team,
Right.
which, barring someone taking some of our junk off our hands. But being a second apron team means this is who we're going to run with for the next 3 years. And
Yeah.
we're now 3 to 4 years into this experiment, and we see the same thing every year.
Right.
And we will have
With a
no
different
ability
coach.
to add anybody with a different coach. Right. So,
There's going to have to be a trade.
but that's the problem. If they're a second apron team, they can't. They can't.
Why?
Because they can only trade with other second apron teams. But a second apron team is going to be a contending team. And why would a contending team want our garbage?
Well, just because it fits better.
You know,
You find me the team. And
One man's trash is another man's what?
I mean, you don't think that like a guy like Evan Mobley, somebody wouldn't want to add him to, let's
are
just
you going
say
to give them up?
I would.
For what?
Whatever. I'd have to look at all the offers.
Would you give up Darius and Mobley for Giannis?
No, he's too injury prone. I couldn't do it.
He's too injury prone, but you're wanting to hold on to Garland and Mobley?
Yeah, because at least I get 2 players out of that. At least one of them's injured and the other one's still in. They're not both injured at the same time all the time, just one time in the playoffs.
Game 2.
I'm just saying that's the type.
I mean,
of thing.
I would
if it's even possible,
that's-
and I don't know enough about second apron.
That's
to know.
the type of guy, though, that you would need to add to this roster in order to get you over the hump. Because that's the kind of guy that puts the whole team on his shoulders and says, "Here we go," and he's got the size to back it up.
And he's the one who says, "Follow me or get out of the way."
But I thought about it today. I was like, Mobley's probably the easiest one to trade right now because he's a 7-footer. People will look at him the same way they looked at
But
Baker
the problem is
particularly.
you got to look at salary. So in order to trade him, you'd have to find a second apron team with a 45. I don't know because we don't know what his contract's going to be once his defensive player.
What
of the
about
year
a team? Well, no, because their
kicker kicks
contracts
in?
wouldn't be.
You'd have to match contracts. So what $50 million a year player are you willing to take back that the other team is willing to give up to get Mobley?
So it would have to be almost like I'm not going to say this particular, but like a Jokic, for example.
Yeah, but Denver is not getting rid of him.
I'm not saying they
Okay.
are. I'm just saying it would be almost like the Luka Doncic type situation too, where do you pay him this max contract or do you move to see some pieces? And they took on Anthony Davis, in the process. A guy like Evan Mobley's still young. He's a different type of player that you can build around, and maybe you gain some stuff with him. So maybe something like that. But I don't
Yeah,
have.
but here's what you're talking about. You're talking about a team willing to trade top 10 players in the NBA for Evan Mobley.
Right, and I think there are teams out there. I mean,
Because Anthony Davis and Luka are arguably top 10 to 12 in the entire NBA. Evan Mobley's not.
but a lot of
But-
teams will look at a guy like Evan Mobley and say we screwed him up.
He's basically the same
Evan
age
was
as
different.
Luka.
Right.
Ain't nobody trading Luka for Mobley. The only reason they traded was because they thought Anthony Davis gave them a better chance to win this year, and they didn't like Luka's work ethic. So
Maybe the
I
Lakers
just
will take him.
don't see that $50 million a year player out there for a team willing to give up, unless you're talking somebody like a Bradley Beal. Well, we don't want him either.
No.
Or a Kevin Durant. Well, we don't want him.
I'll take him.
No, not a chance. You know what I mean?
Speaking
But
of
that-
injuries,
But yeah, right. But that's what you're talking about. If you're going to trade a guy like Mobley, and it even works under the second apron.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're talking about taking a guy back with a bloated salary that somebody else doesn't want, or an aging person at the level of Evan Mobley. At that point, you just keep Evan Mobley.
all right, Evan Mobley, Miles Turner, straight up.
But Indiana wouldn't
I'm
do that.
kidding. You don't know. Maybe they like what they've seen.
And they're not a
They look at
second
him and
apron
they're
team.
They're looking at him going, that guy makes sense for us. We don't need Miles Turner anymore.
Send Mobley to the
Cleveland
Lakers
does
for
not win
LeBron and
trades.
Bronny.
There you go. Yeah, we'll take the pair. Family reunion.
Yeah. God, that would be weird.
Yeah, there's
It's actually interestingly the piece we're missing, but
not a 40-plus-year-old
no,
version.
but I'm saying that's
right.
that position, that piece is what we're missing. But
Yeah.
Right.
so it's I hope they play well tomorrow. But what I saw in their eyes in that first half gives me no hope.
Right. I agree. I'm a little. What's the word when you know you're going to be let down, so you don't want to get too excited? So I'm
We cautiously.
Melancholy.
yeah, we'll go with that. I'm there. I'm probably the guy that can find gold in any situation. Any of this, I give me
Half
10
glass full.
minutes. Give me 10 minutes to process a situation, and I can find something good about it. Eventually. So this particular one,
Find something good for me.
I've had several days to think about it, and I can't think of anything because, like you said, there's just not been to try to figure out how to win 3 games in a row right now with the mentality that they've had, just the look in their face, the demeanor. That's hard, So what? So we go home and win by 20 tomorrow. That's very possible. The big game that makes that deciding factor is Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
If you can go in there and beat them in there, I have a really good feeling coming home for Game 7. But it's really hard. It's hard to have hope. It's hard to see the brighter future because, like you said, this is what we're running with for the next 3 years. And if we can't figure out a way to fix this, then we're
This
we're
is what
stuck.
we watch for the next 2 years.
right.
A playoff team that can't get past the second
Right.
round.
So you take an ugly situation, can't find a way to make it any prettier.
So you don't have
Possibly-
a single flower for me?
Possibly stuck right there in this whole thing, or you could be like the Browns
I
and
expect
have
you
an
to
ugly.
get me out of my doldrums.
Well, you can take the situation like this with the Browns, where it's an ugly situation in the quarterback room, and now you got so many quarterbacks you don't know what to do with them.
Right.
Let's go, Shadeur.
Kind of makes you want to throw up.
That was a dig at the Mason Graham that Drew
Should
had.
have taken Travis Hunter.
Drew had to have Mason Graham,
I know.
and now he's throwing up on the field.
Andrew Berry listening to Drew again.
I think Drew's about to throw up, if I'm not mistaken. I think I did see him dry heave a little bit there. But
I mean, rookie mini camp.
Right.
This was a big week for the Browns.
Right.
Browns football. So
I would like
So
to take.
basically, what he's telling you though is, I took the tours, I ate the food, I hung out, and I did squat,
And then I puked.
and then I puked.
Yeah.
Because I'm out of shape.
I would like to take a second to clear the air here real quick. I know that I definitely said last week that I feel like coming out of camp or going into the regular season that it would be Joe Flacco, Kenny, and Dylan Gabriel. That's their what they have. That is not my personal opinion on who I think should be on this team. That's just from what I've seen and heard that I feel like. So I don't want to sound like a hypocrite as I go through the motions here, because I've liked Sanders all along. I've thought that Sanders was a steal. I didn't necessarily want him, obviously, at the number 2 overall pick. I wanted him, maybe in the later rounds, but in the 5th round was crazy to me to be able to grab him there. And everything that I've seen so far, the dude's got the hot hand right now. Sanders is definitely running the show. I've been watching a little bit of the videos they're throwing out, and obviously, let's bring the optimism down just a little bit. It's rookies versus rookies. A lot of these rookies,
no pads.
A lot of these rookies
Did you
will
see he
probably
set
never.
a rookie training camp record?
That's ridiculous. I didn't even know there cannot be a such thing as rookie records being broken in rookie minicamp. But a lot of these
Shedeur
rookies
did
that
it.
he's throwing against right now may never put a football uniform on ever again. Like
they
these
may
are the guys
they
that'll
may
be selling-
retire his
Like
jersey
Mason Graham?
right.
from rookie mini camp.
Hang it in the rafters.
I mean, there is talk.
Right.
I
But
mean,
12 is now retired.
yeah.
I was optimistic.
yeah.
I had to watch a bunch of film on Dylan Gabriel just to kind of see where he was at and find the optimism in that. There was a lot of things I like about him. He's kind of like a left-handed version of Baker Mayfield. I mean, he's got a little bit of a grit, to him. He does throw a prettier ball as far as just the tighter spiral. But I mean, to tell you, Shedeur Sanders, his ball is where it needs to be every single time. He does not need blue chew.
Well, I will say this: the media, 100% wants Shedeur Sanders.
100%.
100% the media does.
catch what he said?
Yeah,
I said his ball's always where it needs to be.
yeah.
He
its
doesn't
balls are
need blue
always-
chew.
Yeah, he does not.
In case you're still listening, Blue Chew.
Yeah.
And want to sponsor Jason.
But they,
Remember,
they
you gotta read that-
the
the
media
promo, right?
wants Shedeur Sanders. And what you need to realize is, hopefully, Kevin Stefanski, the Browns organization, the coaching staff, the powers
Please don't
that be,
say it.
they
Don't
do
say
not.
it.
They do not give a rip what the media wants.
Right.
They're going to put the.
That's not where I
they're
thought you
gonna-
were going.
They're going to put the best. They're going to make the decision that I think is the best for the team. And let's remember.
So, like putting
let's,
Deshaun on the field last year?
let's remember.
That decision that's best for the team? Like not re-signing Joe Flacco because of Deshaun? They mean that putting the team first?
We're turning over a new leaf here.
This is optimism
Yes.
101. This is rookie freaking minicamp.
Yeah.
I just got done
So-
talking about the Cavs. I'm out of optimism. So
And listen,
apologies.
I said last week I don't have a dog
Except
in
for
this
Shadeur,
fight.
I'm optimistic.
Whoever emerges as the quarterback, I fully support. I
Right.
don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care. I'm not emotionally tied like I was to Baker. First round, first pick overall. He was my guy.
Right.
Who wins, I don't care. If it's Flacco coming out, I fully support that because I know it's not a long-term thing. If it's Shadeur or Dylan Gabriel, I fully support that. Let's get on board. But the media is pushing this Shedeur Sanders because that's where the story, that's the clicks, that's the likes, that's everybody's
You
talking
go on
about
to
it.
the only thing
ESPN national channel right now, and they're still talking about our 5th round draft pick. Like that
Yeah,
blows
what?
my mind. We've got
Well-
national media showing up at rookie minicamp
Yeah.
to watch a 5th round draft pick.
Yeah, which
The only
again,
thing though is I would almost disagree when it comes to local media, and that's why I told you guys about Zach Jackson, because most of what I've been seeing is either they're equal or like what you said that Dylan Gabriel throws a prettier ball.
Yeah.
But when
I'm
Zach
not, I'm not
Jackson,
impressed with anything he's done so far.
no,
That's-
but when Zach Jackson, who was there, so he to kind of, for those who may not know, last year he was the one who kept saying that when all these reports about our offense was this transformative offense, it was going to be something you've never seen, that Deshaun was the best version of Deshaun, and we're all like really stoked to see.
Yeah.
Zach Jackson's in the background saying, guys, the offense looks
psych.
awful. Deshaun looks awful.
Right.
He can't get rid of the ball. He holds on to it too long. He was constantly saying that. So there's some credence into what he says because he's proven him before that he's not following a narrative. He's just speaking what he's seeing. So when he comes out and he says today in an interview on another podcast, they asked him what he saw, and he said, "Now listen, there's no pads. You're just throwing to guys. There's not really defense."
Yeah.
He says, but just in terms of straight throwing the ball, he says it's not even close.
Right.
Shadeur. He says when it comes to just throwing the ball, and he reiterated numerous times, it's not even close. Shedeur throws a better ball.
I am not a quarterback football expert, but I do know what good football looks like. I mean, it's not because of the Browns that I watch, but like I've seen good football in my day. And when you watch the videos that they've been posting, I mean, you're talking multiple cell phone angles. I mean, we're whatever. It is what it is. It's unbelievable. I mean, the kid coming out, dropping back, the footwork, the way he steps into the passes, where the ball's at. I mean, that's
Well, and the other thing too, in both of them, and this is where for both of them, I got to tip my hat to them, and I'm going to actually say something positive today. But
time out. Should we write that down?
yeah, we want to make a note.
What's today's date?
It's,
May the 12th.
2044.
Yeah.
In the future. No, but they both interview very well, and they both say all the right things. Shedeur has been very complimentary of his teammates, of the city, the support, the fans, his excitement to just play football, the fact that he doesn't care where he was drafted.
He joked about his salary the other day, and I thought that was hysterical because that would be the thing that I think a lot of people were turned off about.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. It was something about a new car. You're going to get this particular something. I forget what it was, and he goes, "No, my signing bonus ain't that yet." I thought that was funny.
He's able to joke
his
about it.
feelings aren't hurt.
No.
He's not upset. He's got money. Like he's fine.
good.
But that was a character check thing too, where it was like.
Yeah.
What's this? That's the I guess the area where you thought when it comes to money he'd have been like all prideful and but no, good.
No, but my favorite thing that he said, and I can't remember exactly what the question was, but they were asking him if he watched something the night before. I don't remember if it was the Cavs game or a Guardians game or something like that.
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, he said something like, "No, how did it go?" He says, "Because I was actually, back in my room studying the playbook."
Yeah.
Now, was he
Ding,
back
ding,
in his
ding.
room studying his playbook?
Who cares?
I don't know. But the fact that that's even a thought in his mind,
Right.
His head's in the right place.
Right.
And I'm actually, I was hesitant, but okay with them drafting him.
In 5th round.
Right.
Flip a coin.
Everything I've seen with him, I'm really impressed.
Right. I'm gonna hand on that a little bit what you just were saying because when they first drafted him and they had their like post draft kind of press conferences, it felt like this was a Jimmy Haslam pick, that they were just kind of like along for the ride because Jimmy told us to pick this guy up. That's why my other point was that I felt like he's the odd man out as far as the way, just no excitement, nothing about it. They showed a press conference, I think I don't remember if it was yesterday or today, earlier today that I saw it, of Kevin Stefanski. And I mean, dude was on the edge of his seat when they started talking about Shadeur, and his eyes were like huge, and he had like he was trying not to have a smile on his face, but he had a smile on his face. He says, the kid's been impressive. He's been very good on the field. And he goes, but what's more impressive is he is an even better person off the field than he is on the field. And I'm like, interesting.
And that's something that Kevin doesn't generally say about anybody.
No,
I didn't see that. That's interesting.
I could not believe the look on his face, though. Like, I mean, we talked about the way he talked about other people when he was excited during the draft. I mean, his face, I mean, he looked like a little kid. Yeah. And when he said that part, I was like, that was the rap on this kid coming in, was everybody was so afraid of what he was going to be.
Of the ego.
Right. He doesn't have an ego.
He hasn't shown it.
He's just a funny kind of, not arrogant kid. He's just kind of a confident, funny kid. I mean, his brother is hysterical, and we talked about that too. Deion Sanders is the reason why he dropped. People loved Deion that played with him. People that didn't play with him couldn't stop him, so they didn't know what to do with him.
Cleveland Browns have gained a whole lot of new fans.
Oh, goodness
strictly
gracious.
Because of Shadeur.
Right. And everything that he says, too, is right now about the Browns is spot on. This is where I always wanted to be. There was a thing the other day, he had a quote, I would drop to the fifth round again if it meant going to the Browns.
But here's what's funny is anybody can say that, but all through this process, he was dropping nuggets. Now, we thought maybe it was just so he could get drafted second, but now he's still saying the same things.
Right.
I've got to believe there's some truth to that.
And even if that's not the case, you're a member of this team now, and how easy would it be, let's just say the rap on the street is... Well, let's just say the rap on the street is what it is. The kid's cocky, he's arrogant, he's flashy, he's this, he's that. And now he comes to the Browns. He could very easily, as a fifth-round pick, be going, this is not where I wanted to be. Yeah. I'm just biding my time, hoping it makes a good impression.
We got
they
5
cut me after
quarterbacks
this.
on the roster.
Right.
What do you got me for?
That
Trade me somewhere?
that they cut me at the end of this, and then I can go and sign with the team I want to sign with or whatever. I would almost rather gone on draft. No, this kid came out and said, if I had to do it all over again, I dropped to the fifth round, and it meant going to the Browns, I'll drop to the fifth round again because I want to be part of the Browns. Bingo.
I can't knock a thing he's done since he became a Cleveland Brown.
Right there with
it. Really can't. Everything he said, and I mean, here, think about this. He gets drafted in the fifth round.
Mm-hmm.
That was that Saturday or was that Sunday?
Saturday.
So Monday.
I was at a track meet.
Monday, he was in Cleveland working out and going to, I think it was a middle school, to talk to kids.
And what was the first thing he said he was going to do once he got drafted to the Browns? He said, I'm going to go and I'm going to make an immediate impact on the city.
Yeah.
I want to go and I want to find the how do you say this without sounding weird like you have candy? I want to go find the kids' programs to help out. I want to be a part of
he wanted to invest in the kids.
What's he do? He comes in, first thing.
Man of his word. And of us three, because I think that's always me, I'm always the skeptic.
Mm-hmm. Now I kind of I feel like I should not like Shadeur now.
No, I feel like I'm turning into Drew, and I just want to remind you all that 143 picks went by before the Browns selected him.
But they're all saying the same thing.
Okay. All 143 people that passed on him are saying that, I wish I would have had him.
No, they were saying the same thing that we were all saying, that his character's bad off the field and this, that, and the other.
I don't know that it was the character.
Are you saying you don't like him?
I'm saying we need to realize that he was a 5th-round draft pick, and that, if you guys are all talking like he's going to start day one.
No.
This guy, this was rookie mini camp. Throwing, it's like playing amazing catches with the kids in the backyard. You run a streak, I'm going to throw it, you catch it. Oh my gosh, that was a bomb. I'm throwing dots. Come on.
But let me ask you a question though.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit here. It's rookie mini camp. There's no pads.
But hold on. The reality is, if he came in and he was garbage and he was seen out partying, and there was video of him at nightclubs,
hanging with Johnny Manziel,
you'd be saying cut him now, and we would say
I'm not saying I'm just saying pump the brakes, because the truth is, as far as quarterback grades go, when we talk about this let's remember we talked about this quarterback class being the weakest quarterback class that any of us can remember.
Right,
the weakest, hands down. Okay, Cam Ward, and then huge separation
Right.
between anybody else.
Don't
But
disagree.
let me ask you a question.
So, okay.
Real quick. Sorry, go ahead. Finish.
Well, I was just gonna say, at the end of the day, we've got to remember that none of these guys are. Who was the 3rd round draft pick that we had, or 2nd round draft pick that we did from Notre Dame 5 or 6 years
Brady
ago?
Quinn.
No,
He was first round. I know exactly. Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah.
Kaiser. Okay, higher rating than, but complete bust.
But he was
and-
also a Hughes guy.
What's that?
Hugh Jackson.
Well, we were terrible back then.
Right.
I'm just saying we do not want our rookie quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, we do not want them on the field
No.
anytime soon.
And I don't
remotely anytime soon.
I don't think
As a
and I don't want to
recipe
speak for you,
disaster.
but what of what we said really had anything to do with him as a quarterback?
Well, the perfect passes.
No.
But
that was it. That was literally all we're.
I did
No.
clarify and
All-
say that half
and
these
it-
guys he's throwing against probably will never put on a football uniform.
and-
They'll
and-
probably be
and all
selling
we're doing
McDonald's
is
burgers
comparing
somewhere.
what the passes look like to the 2 quarterbacks we
Right.
have throwing right now. That's it.
Right, and
The rest of what we talked
we've seen
about
half
was-
a dozen videos of each of them.
Right.
Right.
But
No,
but
I'm
the
saying
rest of what we talked about was what he's done and what he's answered,
Right.
and the fact that he is showing to be a different person
The red
than what
flag-
everybody made him out to be. That's it.
The people that had him graded as a quarterback, like I'm not going to say this is a good quarterback class, but the people that had him graded as a quarterback had him as a top 15 player from that skill set in this particular draft. There was a lot of people that had him rated in that top 15.
Nobody
caliber.
really had him dropping farther
No.
in the beginning of the 2nd round.
The catch with him was the character off the field. And that was what a lot of people were saying. And, whatever, it is what it is as far as the play. I mean, this person saw him this way and that way. But that was from our perspective of looking at it, that they made us to believe that the real negative side of him was
The non-player.
the non-player portion. And now it's looking like
That's different.
that's
And
not at all what is the case.
That's all I'm saying. That's the part I've been most surprised with, is what he's shown to be,
Right.
having nothing to do with
And
him
if you
as a
could
player.
match that with solid quarterback play,
And
I'm
even when I brought up Zach Jackson, he prefaced it by saying no pads, no defense,
Right.
no nothing,
Yeah.
just strictly what their ball. Their
Yeah,
pads.
and
half the
again,
guys you can't even pronounce
I-
their names.
I'm not going to be mad if this kid ends up being the starter at some point this season. But if
I don't think either one of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
we just need to be careful because the media is this is the story.
Right.
This is
Oh,
the
my gosh.
story. So if Dylan Gabriel is marginally better,
You
when
hope
it
he
co-
gets the fair shot, is what you're saying.
Well, I'm just saying, will he get a fair shot?
Right.
Because the Shedeur Sanders is the clicks, the likes, the story. It's where the
Right.
his
Yeah.
So we need to
Very
be
true.
we need to be the last thing I want is a quarterback coming in here because his dad is a Hall of Famer and I loved his dad's game. I have nothing but respect for the Sanders family, but I want my quarterback of my football team to earn it.
Right.
And right
100%.
now, and Baker Mayfield was the number 1 pick in the draft. He didn't have to earn it. He was the heir apparent. It was his job.
Right.
There was from day one. Right now, we don't have that case. We have a 3rd round draft pick, a 5th round draft pick, a 40-year-old, and Tiny Hands Joe.
Kenny.
Tiny Hands Kenny. Yeah. So
Don't forget, too, you have Deontay Johnson now.
Well, we also have Deshaun Watson.
No, forget him. Deontay Johnson and Kenny Pickett, that's a match made in heaven.
Yeah. Well, they'll have good chemistry.
yeah, I mean the Pittsburgh connection, right?
Well, no, the drop history.
So we just need to. I just want to temper it because
Yeah. No. And you're right.
I don't.
No, wait. You're not right. It can't be right.
I'm 100% right.
No.
I agree with it.
No, and that's why I say I don't think, at least for me, I don't expect him to be anything more as a football player than what we expect.
Mhm.
Right.
Which we
I'm
don't
just
know. The
saying,
ceiling's
I'm
high.
acknowledging the
Who knows
fact
what it
that
is.
what he is off the field and his personality and who he is is very different than the narrative we were fed during draft.
Agreed.
Sure. And we got to be careful for the pump fake too, the head fakes here. somebody's getting traded.
Right.
Somebody is not going to be.
So who is it? Who's going to New Orleans? New Orleans.
I've seen reports that say Joe Flacco makes the most sense, and he does because he's only about 3 years older than Tyler Shuck. So that makes sense. They're the same style of player, but Kenny's got to be the option there if that's the case, in my opinion.
I mean,
You're not
Kenny is more like Derek Carr.
right, and you're not. I mean, could there be something to this where we're getting fleeced again? Like we all thought Jalen Milroe was the guy, and then Daniel. Was it David?
Dylan.
Jeez. Dylan Gabriel ends up being the guy. Could we be getting fleeced right now? And Kevin's putting on his like happy face. Yeah, this guy's amazing. And they're like, gotcha. 2nd round draft pick. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. That'd be cool too. Whatever. But
Not bad.
I cannot see New Orleans being in the position that they're in and saying, we'll take Sanders or Gabriel. Like, that doesn't make any sense based off of.
Well, no, because then they got two
lost their
rookies.
start. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I mean,
It would be if
they
they
took
get
Tyler Shuck in the 2nd round, so
that's
They plan
who
on
they
him.
that's
view.
who they wanted.
Right.
They had the
No, maybe because he's literally only months younger than Kenny Pickett.
I
Maybe they
saw that
view
today,
him
too.
as a day one starter.
Right.
yeah.
Maybe that's why they drafted him, because they knew about
Maybe.
Derek Carr.
Yeah.
And so they're not even looking for a quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
That's possible.
I did see that the 3 quarterbacks the Saints have on the roster. One was 0-6, one's 0-1, and Tyler Shuck 0-0. So they've
Not
got,
a
they've
win
got,
between
They've got no wins between 3 quarterbacks.
That
on their
sounds
roster,
like
so,
a
yeah.
Browns
Yeah,
move if I've ever seen one.
yeah. So somebody's getting traded or cut.
Yeah, I agree.
Or put
Somebody
on the
has to.
I mean, somebody could be put on the practice squad.
But you're only going to put the rookies there.
That's
and
what I'm saying.
They'll
Like,
get snatched up.
Right.
Gabriel or
They'll get snatched up right away.
I
You might
feel
as well
like-
trade them at that point.
I feel like if your plan is to keep Gabriel on the roster, then you trade Shadeur. I don't know what the trade value of Dylan would be if you're going to try to trade him. That's why I say maybe you sneak him on the practice squad and people just
Well,
let it go. I don't.
You're not going to get back what you used to get them,
Right.
I don't know if he'll
because
go
I don't think
anywhere.
anybody but us valued him in the third
That's what I'm
round.
saying. I just don't know if he would go anywhere.
Well,
That's why I think Kenny is probably your best option to get something. You
hope
gave
that-
up a 5th round pick.
Can we just take a moment and just say, I hope that's what happens.
Yeah.
I don't like.
And maybe that is just me and my wishful thinking.
When they brought Johnson, that's what we were talking about last week. May you not be with us last week,
Yeah.
whatever. But Deontay
I was in
Johnson.
Cleveland.
Deontay Johnson coming into the Browns organization after signing Kenny Pickett. Like, whenever we played the Steelers when Kenny was the quarterback, that was like my one favorite part was
yeah.
because Deontay Johnson would drop balls like crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like this guy couldn't throw the ball good. This guy couldn't catch it. It's like you felt good going into Cleveland because I'm not worried about Kenny and I'm not worried about Deontay. And now guess what?
Now we got them both.
Now they're on our team.
And now they're going to be Pro Bowlers.
Boom!
Let's
We
go.
nailed it.
Deontay Johnson, 1,200 receiving yards. Kenny Pickett's going to throw for
He
4,500.
needs Blue Chew for his hands.
We do have currently at least 3 former Steelers on our roster.
Oh, we got that safety today.
Yeah.
Yep, I saw
Yeah.
that.
So
I was thinking about that too. Like, have you ever seen a team draft more from one school than the Pittsburgh Steelers? I mean, they
Ohio
take
State?
Ohio State guys like nobody's business, and they always end up.
So
Jack
annoying.
Sawyer,
I was mad when they got Jack Sawyer.
Jack
so
Sawyer's going to
annoying.
be the next like T.J. Watt type.
Yeah.
I mean, that just
He
It's
he
just-
is what the Cavs are missing.
kind of.
that like emotional.
He is
Punch
he
in
is
the
just a
mouth.
guy
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
he's going to keep coming at you, and doesn't matter up down
Right.
what he's got a motor and an attitude and an edge.
It's
I wonder if
gonna
he
be-
plays basketball.
Probably just run through people.
So they also announced today JOK
No,
Done for the year.
done for the year.
I
So that
half anticipate there's going to be a linebacker move.
well, I think I'm more convinced that that's why they drafted
Schwessinger.
Schwessinger.
Schwabel.
Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger.
The burger.
That's awesome.
Remember that from Pink Panther?
Yeah, I was gonna say Pink Panther.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
But maybe that's why they did get him that early, is they knew and they needed somebody who had that type of skill set,
Right.
that motor, that agility. It makes sense.
Yeah.
And for him, it don't know if he'll ever play another game for the Browns, but
Yeah.
you just hope that at some point, he can have a quality of life that,
Right.
Whether he plays or not.
I don't know. That's
His message to Browns fans was, I don't know if you guys read it, but
I
it was really
did.
cool.
Yeah,
It was really cool.
he's just such a unique type of player because he's not a real big guy.
Mhm.
He's a fast guy. He's not a safety, but he's not a linebacker. He's like that hybrid in
Yeah.
between. And like the whole reason we brought him in was for Lamar Jackson types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps him honest and all that. And so Carson is not an answer to that at all. That's not the same type of guy. I think that this guy will be good. I think he's a good linebacker, but like I still need that like big body, maybe Martin Emerson type slips into that role or something. I don't know, but like that was such a key asset to have a guy that could just be fast enough to adjust to, I'm covering a guy, but all of a sudden he's there and
he was a
make it
lot
pop.
better in the run game.
Yeah.
With his ability to slide between blockers.
That's what I'm saying because he was so fast
Yeah.
too to get to those gaps and stuff, which was
I
nice.
thought you were talking about just as like a QB spy.
No, well, I'm saying like he's more of that guy that like let's say you're doing the RPO, and you're on the outside of there. He's out guarding this guy because he's got to stick with this guy in case it turns into a pass and all of a sudden turns into a run and he crashes the board. He's gone. He's done. He's right there, and that's hard to find. I don't know many guys like he's almost like a Troy Polamalu,
yeah.
if you will, playing linebacker.
Without the hair.
Went in the talent because Troy was freaking awesome.
Well, JOK,
He was really good. He
Yeah.
really is.
he was trending that
Right.
direction.
I agree. I
mean,
agree
he
with
was a
that.
Pro Bowl the year before, and he was
Having a
better
stand-up.
than that
Yeah.
before
Right,
when he got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's a real kick in the pants.
Yeah, but he does seem like a, if you remember, he was a guy who wore a Guardian helmet and somebody who's very conscious about his health.
Right.
And and so hopefully for his sake, he can find some semblance of
And not
normalcy.
pulling
whether-
Andrew Luck and just retire. And
Which
I
again,
mean,
if
it
he
could-
does, I
it-
can't blame him.
yeah,
I mean,
I
you're
mean-
talking about your neck.
right.
I
I agree. Health.
If he comes back, great. If he doesn't,
Can we at least
good
trade
for
him
him.
somehow?
Huh?
At least trade him somehow to get something for him.
Yeah, you want one of our guys that's never going to
We'll
play
throw-
again?
We'll throw
What are you going to
Mobley
give
in.
me? Take
Trade
Deshaun too.
JOK and Mobley.
Right.
Yeah,
Throw Deshaun in.
yeah. We'll throw Deshaun in for a little.
He's good for a neck massage.
Some throw some Diddy baby oil in there too, and
Speaking of that, do we sign Justin
package
Tucker,
it all
you think?
together. I don't know if we signed Justin Tucker just yet.
Boy, would the time to open up a massage parlor would be right now.
Right. This is the
We got two
window.
built-in clients.
This is the 3 and out massage parlor.
That's right.
We're here for all your kicking and quarterback needs.
That's right.
And blue chew.
I got a name for it too. It could be the inappropriate touch.
Oh my gosh.
It's like the perfect massage parlor name. Come
Just
to,
put a picture of Deshaun and Bill Cosby or something on the
yeah.
outside of it.
Just put a smiley face ending.
Right.
Oof.
Oh man. Speaking of massages, doesn't look like Nick Chubb's coming back either.
No, that's sad.
I think that it hasn't officially sailed. I mean,
No, I
But Andrew Berry almost said as much.
I mean, it almost seemed like he's putting it way back on Chubb to say if there's going to be any movement, it's got to come from him.
right.
Like it's all. I read into that saying like the Browns have said this is what we're willing to do,
Right.
and he's still exploring other options, maybe, or going to wait. And
I've
see
only
for-
heard. I actually heard that there was 2 teams that he went. Bears were one of them, and I don't know who the other team was, but they actually shut it down and said no, not interested. What?
Really?
Like, are you kidding me? And so that's weird to me because I feel like if he comes back 60% of himself, that's still better than half
He's-
the
he's
running
still a
backs in the
good
league.
backup.
Right. Well, that's what we were talking about too.
Yeah.
So he goes over to the Bears. I don't think he's the starter with the Bears.
No. They just draft.
They're Swift.
Yeah.
As
Listen,
their
didn't
main
they-
guy. And,
Didn't they
but
just draft somebody this year?
that's a diamond team. Jeez.
I'm pretty sure they drafted a running back.
Wasn't Quinshawn Judkins. Oh, was it Trayvon Henderson? Where'd he end up going?
New England.
That's right. Yeah.
New England. So
Yeah, I got a buddy that's a humongous New England Patriots fan and like the biggest hater of
the
Ohio
Rutgers
State.
running back. It was in the 7th round. But
Oh, okay.
He's the biggest New England Patriots fan and the biggest hater of Ohio State, and he just got Travion Henderson. He's like, well, this is going to be hard, but eventually I'll come around.
I don't know. You know, after a few years, you kind of forget where they all went to college, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
So-
Because Quinshon Judkins, I was, just to go along that same point, the dude looks absolutely scary. And I'm not talking about from lining up against other rookies. I'm just saying when
just
he put his
physically he's
uniform on,
imposing.
he came into camp like,
he was not puking
no, shut it.
during
It's going to be fine.
training.
Mason Graham, Defensive Player of the Year. Do they have that in football?
Defensive puker of the year.
Right. There'll be a P in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But Quinshon Judkins, I mean, I was talking to one of my boys the other day, and I was like, by boys, I'm not trying to be like slang, my legitimate kid.
Children.
Right. I was talking to him the other day about the whole situation with Nick Chubb, and I'm like, you don't draft Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson if your plan was to bring Nick Chubb back, because Nick Chubb would be, the number one guy.
Be either your starter or your backup.
Right.
You're not bringing a starter and a backup and re-signing your backup.
The Knicks took Game 4 and are leading 3-1.
And Jason
do we-
Tatum
do
was
we-
carried
do
off.
we
he
really
was carried
think-
off with a leg injury.
Are Celtic fans melting down like
Not like Browns fans
like,
are.
like the
Oh,
Cavs
no.
fans?
Boston fans? Oh, I'm sure they are.
They're melting
Yes.
down.
Oh,
Is it over? Is this team run its
well,
course?
especially if Tatum's leg injury.
Yeah.
He had 42 points when he
I'd
went
take
down.
him for Mobley.
Now listen,
He was seen in a wheelchair afterwards.
Oh my gosh!
Our
Paul
training
Pierce
staff-
all over again. Paul Pierce all over again
our training staff
Bull crap.
assisted Donovan Mitchell off at halftime.
after stubbing his toe on the open floor.
So a lot of
Oh.
similarities there.
It says his leg gave out, but it said he grabbed his leg above the ankle after a non-contact injury.
I've
Ooh,
had
that
those
could be-
before.
Well,
But you know for a fact, though, out of experience of losing 2 Achilles, the moment it happens,
Well,
what
and
it
he
is.
they said he immediately buried his head in a towel.
Oh, then, I mean, it's like a gun blast that goes off. It's the loudest. Both times it happened to me, it was like a blackout moment. It wasn't even from the pain.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just your body just goes into shock instantly, but it's just this big pow, and you just know. I mean, there's no second guessing. It wasn't a bone crack. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It's 100%. I mean, you instantly visualize what the next freaking 6 months look like. A boot, not walking,
You're in a boot.
stupid crutches, or that's if he did that, he
And
very
again,
well knows.
that's just reading into it, but the placement and the reaction does not sound good.
That sucks.
Yeah, that's
You
too.
hate for it to go out like that.
Which, and I don't know what the score was when he went down, but that very well could be. There was 2:58 to go in the fourth quarter. So I don't. What they
What
lose
was the
by?
final?
121 to 113.
Down
Very
8,
well could
so-
have been. That's
yeah.
only was 7 8
Actually,
point
I
difference.
bet you. I know
Did I do
this
math
is
good?
Huh?
Did I just do math good?
You did.
7 8 point difference.
70.
8 point.
7 or 8.
8.
I think it's 70. I'm
Like
oh, it's not that
Madagascar?
much.
I mean, yeah.
78.
Oh, hold on. Let me check the play-by-play. Curious now. What
Yeah.
the score was when he went down.
I mean, why don't we
What I
just
say it
become
was
the-
2:58 left.
Yeah.
So at 2:58, they were still down 9. So it was actually even all the way out. So
So he's
losing him didn't help them, but it didn't necessarily hurt them either.
It hurt them for games to come. For
Although
sure.
I will say they went an entire minute without scoring. So, but with 3 minutes to go, that minute is a big
Right.
minute.
Yeah.
And he had 42. But anyway, that the 1 seed and the 2 seed are both at risk of going down. The NBA's worst nightmare:
crazy.
Knicks versus Pacers. in
I
the
thought for
conference
sure that
finals.
the NBA was trying to fix it just to add some drama to the beginning. Don't slap me on the wrist. Don't penalize me for what I'm about to say. But the NBA is probably the easiest game in the world to rig. I could take a hard push to the hoop, miss the shot, and I'm the team that's supposed to win, and they put me right on the foul line. Vice versa, I go in for the shot, I'm the team that's supposed to lose. They don't call anything, I missed the shot. It's very easy to dictate the momentum and switch. So I thought for sure with the way that the Cavs and all the other teams kind of went down, the bigger seeds losing up front, they were trying to push.
You mean
somehow.
like a 4th and 13 play where you run the ball up the middle?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, that's different. Don't be weird because you like basketball more than you like football.
I'm just saying we've done it as the Browns.
But we don't
It's
have
been
a
a Kevin
script.
Stefanski
We're just
play
really
call.
that bad. How dare you make me have to talk negative when rookie minicamp's out?
And it was
We have a whole season to be negative on the
there was
Browns.
a whole lot of good
minicamp.
rookie
We've got-
minicamp. I
we
was
got the
proven
next-
right about Mason.
We had the black
Graham.
Tom Brady on our team right now. He even wore the number 12.
Jeez.
He even wore the number 12 in honor of his mentor, he said.
Yeah.
See? And Tom Brady and him actually have they've been working stuff out, which I thought was
just-
crazy.
But
I
here's
just
the
hope
funny
you guys know that this is being recorded and there will be receipts.
Listen,
You mean like Travis Hunter and Mason Graham?
I'm not predicting he's
Yes.
going to be the MVP of the
Can't
Super Bowl.
wait.
I'm not saying he won't get us to a Super Bowl, but I'm not saying he's going to be the MVP of it yet. There's 162 games to go.
That's,
Oh,
that's
boy.
Judkins. He'll be the MVP.
Possibly. He might be our quarterback too by that time. Who
And
knows?
Mason Graham will be the MVP on defense, most valuable puker.
And Travis Hunter will be a bust.
He
And
will
Dylan
not.
Gabriel will be on a different team where they're switching their entire offensive line and wide receivers to different positions
Yeah.
because he's left-handed.
He's left-handed.
It just remember Tom Brady, who was in fact drafted in the 6th round,
And wore number 12.
did wear number 12, but he didn't come in to the game until the person he was backing up got
Injured.
waylaid
Right.
late in the season or midway
Was
through
that,
the
was
season.
that his rookie year?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
But I don't think
So-
anybody in this room is advocating that either one of our rookie QBs start early.
Right.
I'd be fine if they didn't start at all this first year.
I agree.
If Joe Flacco stays healthy, he's my starter all year long.
Right.
17 games and hopefully somewhere in the playoffs.
I agree.
I think there's value for any rookie QB, even if your name's Joe Burrow,
Right.
to sitting and just learning the NFL game for a
It's
year
faster.
or two.
Well, there's no
And
question.
There's
And for
17
Shadeur,
games.
remember, coming from Jackson State and Colorado, which aren't exactly, power conferences,
Right.
power teams. You can say what you want. I'm not doubting he has skill, but the NFL is elite of elite.
Right.
1,900 players or 2,100 players. I think I did the math, the other day, including practice squad. That's it. That's the top 2,100 players.
Right.
And there are 32 teams, let's say 3 quarterbacks per team.
my head hurts now.
96 quarterbacks are going to make the roster.
You
want my
head to
so-
explode.
You
Not a
just
blue
need
chip.
to just and that's our plug from Blue Chew. Oh boy.
Wow.
But if we had Tyler Shuck, would you be singing a different tune?
No.
No.
All right, I'm just checking.
No.
Just checking.
We'd be talking
again-
about Medical Mutual or whatever that is that fixes your collarbones and stuff.
No, I just think it's we've seen it play out before.
Right.
We've seen it play out before where even Baker's rookie year, it took us how many games before we opened the Bud Light fridge,
Right.
we were coming
Right.
off of 1-31 and rookie quarterbacks are going to have a very difficult time. Cam Ward, I'm telling you, you want to use your DraftKings and your FanDuel, Tennessee is going to have a tough time to start the
They'll
season.
probably be top of the schedule or top of the draft board again next
Yeah.
year.
It's going to be very difficult. And here's another thing. We talk about Jacksonville and Travis Hunter and all that stuff too. Trevor Lawrence, all the hype surrounding
Right.
Trevor Lawrence,
Pretty hair.
his
Sunshine.
He does.
his overall record as a starting quarterback is abysmal.
Yeah.
He's taken the team to the
He'll be better now.
playoffs one time.
He's got Travis Hunter now, so that'll be good.
He's taken the team to the playoffs one time and lost in the first round. He has been largely been a disappointment. And if they don't, my hot take is if they don't make the playoffs this year,
Right.
he's outie.
What's that?
My favorite picture of Trevor Lawrence.
That's awesome.
That's
Oh.
yeah. But that that's a touchy one. And anyway, these rookie quarterbacks that are drafted high,
No, how many-
expected to start, and again, we've got to remember a lot of teams that were quarterback needy. How many picks did Pittsburgh have?
Right.
Well, how many since we came back in '99? How many quarterbacks have we ruined because we had to start them too early?
Yeah,
Not many.
there's
Like,
a whole
A baker's dozen.
Baker's dozen at least. Yeah,
Baker was
if a
probably the
Baker's dozen
dozen.
is 30, or
He's almost as old as Tyler Shuck.
yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. So, I agree with you, Drew. I know that might sound crazy, but I do agree. I think
need to write
Been a
that
Joe
down.
lot of- I
Flacco.
was going to say there's been a lot of
I know.
weird agreeing today.
Yeah.
I take
A
Joe
little
Flacco for
uncomfortable.
17 games. Let these rookies, whoever it's going to be.
Mhm.
I can't imagine going into year 2 with 2 rookies.
No.
They're
can't
not going to
imagine
keep. They're
How long did Washington keep Kirk Cousins?
Like
and
3 years, I
Robert
think it
Griffin?
was.
Was it 3?
Yeah, because he was the backup, and then Cousins got hurt, or RG3
3.
got hurt, and
Yeah.
then they bounced back and forth, and then they trade him, and then he gets like really hurt.
Yeah.
Like I think the year after or something like that, which was crazy because
I was
Imagine-
curious. 'cause
imagine
that
if he
was
would've drafted
I think
two
the last
quarterbacks,
time that
so.
the team drafted,
I mean they drafted him
QBs
high
like
too.
we did, yeah.
And that was
I think that was first and third
yeah.
round, I believe. Something
Mhm.
like that. But yeah, I mean, reality though is the one thing that you could keep them both is if one is separated as a potential starter,
Right.
then you got a starter and a backup.
Yeah.
But they're-
If they're both either not ready or they're both starter caliber, then you've got an issue.
And based off of draft grades and positions,
Good melding of words.
yeah, just it saves time in the long run if you just take words and
push
just
them all together.
slam them together.
It worked for Biden. I mean,
Right, 100%, 100%. Best thing he ever did was say words, or lack of. Yeah, best memes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
If you look at the order where they're picked, then Gabriel will be your guy. But like this is the funny thing. I think it'll end up being, the flip flop, which is going to make it uncomfortable for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, but again, if you're going by talent evaluators, Shedeur is the better quarterback.
Yeah. Right.
With a first round grade in this class.
It's just where
And Dylan, we drafted him in the 3rd when he had a later round draft grade.
right.
So in theory, Shedeur is the better quarterback.
Which is what I've said too. So if it comes down to Shedeur being the guy that ends up saving the franchise, just calm down. I'm not saying tomorrow. If he becomes that guy and Gabriel ends up becoming the guy that gets left out,
Yeah.
just swap. I mean, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Just say that
Well,
was
it's
your 3rd round
irrelevant
pick
now.
and Gabriel was your 5th round pick.
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal. I'm saying that because I know Drew will constantly remind us that we wasted a 3rd round pick on Gabriel.
We did.
Left-handed quarterback. They had to change the entire offense for him and flip everything around.
They do.
Receivers don't know what to
run,
do.
Run
They
different
can't,
routes.
they can't catch a left-handed ball.
Is it the same hitting a ball from a right-handed pitcher or left-handed pitcher?
I don't know. I've never done that.
I tried to bat left-handed at wiffle ball.
Yeah. See?
That didn't work out so well.
See?
My left arm is a useless appendage. So let's just put it that way. There's no.
It flips your screen well.
It does.
Imagine if you had Bluetooth. On that note, we should probably wrap this up
Yeah.
because there's not much saving grace
Yeah.
left. Yeah, on a much more somber note here, guys, we're going to end this show up, but I wanted to bring mention to this young man, high school kid for lacrosse team out in Bay Village. Dylan Veselik was struck with a ball and during a game and
Across.
has passed away. And I want to take a minute and just send our thoughts to the family. I can't even imagine, with having kids that play sports, high schoolers, ones that are graduating, ones that are just entering high school. I can't even imagine what you guys must be going through right now. I just want to take a minute and just send some love from our 3 and Out podcast here, and I can't even put into words,
There are no words.
Right.
Just
It's just
our heart
crazy.
breaks for you.
Yeah, it's
It just makes you, you just appreciate the little things in life, just a little bit more. And I'm so sorry that you guys had to go through that, but I just pray that you guys can keep your heads up and keep your hearts right. And well, on that note, we're gonna sign off and catch you next time.
Sayonara.
sayonara. Peace out.